Hello everyone. Are we live? I think we're live. This new setup on the desktop is still taking a little bit to get used to, but hope you're having a fantastic week. Today we are talking about sleep. Sleep is so incredibly important. It's another one of those things that is vastly not talked about enough. I know that for myself, I mean, not anymore, but it used to be, sleep is one of those things like, let's sleep when I'm dead, or I wish I had more time to sleep. But the research has shown and how sleep actually affects us is absolutely massive. So we're going to talk about that today. It's really super fast. Talk about a couple things that you can do to help increase that sleep, because the reality is if you are not sleeping properly, you are going to die early. It's a scientific fact. This is not science according to Cody. This is fact. So if you feel like you struggle with the sleep thing, hang around because we're going to get this done. If you've been here for a while, you already know we get these things done in 5 minutes so that I can make them quick, short, and actionable. So if you're watching this thing live, drop a hashtag live in the comments or hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. I appreciate it very much when you do that. So without further ado, so without getting super scientific-y here with the studies and stuff, they talk about sleep. What they've seen is people who already have some sort of depression, bipolar, any sort of mental health issues in the first place, that sleep actually is around 80% of those people. So if you're already struggle with anxiety, you already struggle with depression, you already have these issues and you're not sleeping, it's going to just make your already there problems even worse. And there's nothing wrong with having mental health problems. I struggle with depression, and that's just the way it is sometimes. It's all good. So what they found for people who don't have any sort of depression and anxiety and stuff like this, it only takes 1 hour of sleep deprivation, or the lack of the sleep that you actually need, to drop your performance by 30%. Now, this is not just performance in the gym. This is performance in life. So if you were to sit there at work and you were to be given a task, let's say, you're given a task to do, and it should only take you, 2 hours to get it done. Well, you're working at 70% effort, so now it's going to take a lot longer to get it done. So when you compound that over years and years and years and years of constant, I'll sleep later, I'll sleep later, I'll sleep later, these problems get worse and worse and worse. And that's actually where they're finding how it creates a lot of high blood pressure. It creates a lot of problems with the heart, causes a lot of problems with the brain, and how our brain is actually trying to function, because in essence, we're killing it from the inside. Our body, the reason that the sleep is so incredibly important is because when we go through work, when we go to the gym, when we do all these other activities, that tears our body down, it breaks it down. And where we build it back up again is actually through the sleep. So if you're not sleeping properly, you're not allowing the body to heal. It's basically like having a scab, and it's almost healed and you tear it off. And then it's almost healed and you tear it off. Like, that's what's happening when you're not sleeping enough. Like, you're not allowing your body to fully recharge. And then eventually what happens, because we've all been there, eventually you freaking crash, and you crash crazy hard, and you're like, oh man, I feel caught up. Well, maybe feel caught up for a couple of days, and then what happens? You go back to your old routines, you go back to being exhausted, you go back to freaking pounding a ton of caffeine and coffee just to stay awake. Well, then when you're drinking that caffeine, it keeps you up. So now you're laying in bed at night and you're still kind of wired because your nervous system is still firing while you're trying to go to sleep. And so this is exactly what happens. You take sleeping pills to go to sleep. You take caffeine to fight the effects of the sleeping pills the next day. So it's this constant evolving cycle. So not everyone, I understand, is able to sleep, the 8 hours, which is not really a thing, but we won't get into that right now. It's about increasing the quality of sleep. Now, yes, at a certain point, you need to structure your life so that sleep is a priority, just like everything else, just like feeding your kids is a priority. Hopefully that's a priority, is feeding your kids, right? So sleep needs to be the same thing. I know I'm coming up on my 30 seconds here, so I'm gonna wrap it up really quick. You have to make it a priority. If you're getting 3 hours of sleep, you need to look at your life and how you can make adjustments, okay? That's number one. For the majority of people, they can, I cannot watch 3 hours of TV, and I can go to, I can watch 2 hours of TV, so you get an extra hour. Perfect, that's a start. But what you really need to do, and this is where people This is the big trick here. You got to create a sleep routine. The sleep routine is literally training and tricking your body that it's time to go to sleep. Step one starts with turning off electronics generally about 2 hours before sleep. An hour is a great starting point. And then whatever the sequence you do after that, it doesn't really matter. Just as long as it's the same sequence every single night. Make sure you are not getting in your bed for anything other than sleep or any sort of marital activities or whatever you wanna do there. But it's sleep. And that is it. You don't read a book in bed. You don't watch TV in bed. You don't do any of that kind of stuff in bed. So create that sleep routine. And when you create that sleep routine, by the time you get to the final step, your body's ready for sleep. Because one, it knows when I lay in bed, it's sleep time. And two, when you are getting to that final step, it knows that it's sleep. And that's how that works. So you have to prioritize that sleep, and you have to make sure that you do it. Otherwise, you are going to die early. Like I said, this is what the science is showing. This is not according to Cody. So have a fantastic rest of your day. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next week.